Hello and welcome to the Book Tasters. From young adults to tween and everything in between, the Book Tasters serve up the tastiest reviews of today's and yesterday's greatest stories. I'm your host, Timothy J. Burdick, and I'm joined by my co-host for the week, Isa. Isa, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I cannot complain one bit. It's a great place to be in school on a cold February afternoon. I kind of like it being warm inside and not having to go outside for recess, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of cold, so I didn't really want to go outside, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was kind of excited to just come.
Exactly. Too cold to go outside. Why don't we come in here and we just talk about books, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I heard you brought some interesting facts for us today. Why don't you start us off with the first one?
My first one is that there is a secret apartment in the Eiffel Tower.
Really? There's a secret apartment in the Eiffel Tower. I wonder if anybody has ever had the ability to actually go in and live in that apartment.
That would be really cool. You can spot it if you take like an elevator up. It's like on the 3rd level.
Really? Interesting. So if you were to live in the secret apartment in the Eiffel Tower, what would you do with your time?
Probably just like, I don't know, like do what I normally do, but like try to keep it secret. So like I would try and sneak out every time that I had to go out.
Mm-hmm. I'd probably put like booby traps and things all over, like secret signs, and try to make people believe that there was a ghost in the Eiffel Tower or something like that.
That would
and
be fun.
I think that would be fun. I'd like make my own blog about it, and I think that'd be really interesting. I bet you France would really like that because more people would actually come to the Eiffel Tower to see it, and All right, what about your next fact?
There was a fungi discovered in 2011, and it was named after SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's awesome. So are you a big SpongeBob fan?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about fungi being named after SpongeBob?
When I saw this fact, I was like, I need to write this down because, my brothers really like to watch SpongeBob, so I just usually watch it with them.
That's awesome. Very cool. So if you had to, you had your option between two things, fungi and SpongeBob SquarePants, which would you choose?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
All right. Next fact, what do you got?
The Twitter bird has a name.
No way, it does?
Yeah.
What is the name of the Twitter bird?
His name is Larry.
No way! That's awesome. I'm on Twitter all the time, and I love that little thing. I think it even has its own little squeak, but I didn't know it had its name.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So I wonder if there are any other symbols. Does like the camera on Instagram have its own name? Does the F on Facebook have its own name? Does the YouTube play button have its own name? I think it is the play button, right?
Yeah.
Twitter's unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
It has its own little animal, little mascot. I never even thought about that. Are there any other social media platforms that I'm missing there?
No, not that I can think of.
TikTok, Snapchat, nothing of those? Yeah, okay. All right, next one. What do you got?
Did you know that crows hold grudges?
Crows, like the birds?
Yeah.
Oh, so like,
They-
go for it.
If like somebody took them years before, I read that they actually like if they encounter the person again, they will attack.
No way. So they're vengeful beasts. Interesting. That must be why so often whenever they're written into a story, they're always perceived as a bad animal,
Yeah.
bad omen. Because if you're seeking revenge, you're gonna want to hurt somebody,
Yeah.
right? Huh, okay. I can get one more fact.
Yes. Alan Arkin, I don't know if I'm reading that right, won the Academy Award, I don't know what that is, but is the author of this book's first cousin.
Oh, okay. So the author of the book that you brought with us today is Avi.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't have a last name for him, but the book is called Something Upstairs. And you say that Alan Arkin is his first cousin?
Yep.
Okay. And he's an Academy Award winner, which means he won an Oscar. I mean, she won something in movies probably. So that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
That they're two very great minds related in cousinship. Do you have any cousins that are brilliant like you?
I don't have that many, like, I have a lot of cousins, but, like, we don't really see them that often.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my cousin is, I think, the same age as me. I don't know. And she speaks Spanish at her house, and so we go over there sometimes.
Nice. So maybe, in the future, you'll be the famous author, and then your cousin might be the Academy Award winner, or vice versa. Or you could both do both. I mean, you're both talented enough, I'm sure, right? Well, tell me a little bit about this book that you brought with us.
So it's a ghost story. I really personally love ghost stories and horror books, but it's about this person Kenny, moves to a new, like, weird town, kind of, and it's very old. Like, all the buildings are very, very old, and he lives in, like, one of the oldest buildings. And so his room is in the attic, and so he keeps hearing these, like, weird noises at night.
Interesting. So, and obviously the book is called Something Upstairs. So he actually lives in the upstairs attic.
Yeah.
Okay. And so where does the conflict come in when it comes to these weird sounds and everything like that? What does he think is going on in the house? Does he think it's haunted, or does he think it's just the oldness of the house?
He's kind of onto it, so he goes to discover one night, and I'm not going to really tell you more because it's very spoiling, but he kind of thinks it's haunted, and wants to discover more about the people who live and died in his house. So he goes to the library and, like, discovers more about it.
Okay, so the local library here is going to be his link to figuring out the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes and he checks out the books and he tries to figure out what's been going on in this house in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, is he the only one in this house, or do his parents or his sister, brother?
I think it's only his parents. It hasn't said anything about siblings.
Okay, so he's only child, and
Yeah.
he's just really trying to figure out what these sounds are coming from.
Yeah.
Now, is he to the point where it's like, I don't even want to be in this house because it's so scary, or is he like the type of guy he was gonna So human psychology says that whenever you're greeted with some sort of obstacle in your way, you're either going to fight it or you're going to flight it, which means you're going to go at it or you're going to run away.
Yeah.
Is he a fighter or is he a flighter?
He's more of a fighter because I feel like he wants to know more, because he keeps just going back and asking more questions to the librarian, and yeah.
How far along are you in this book?
Halfway.
Halfway there? Okay, so you don't know the ending yet.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. But you do know enough that you don't want to spoil up
Yeah.
the middle portion. Okay, I got that. I like that. All right, so you brought a couple pages with us to read today. I'm just going to open them up real quick if you can find them for me. And then I'll go ahead and give you the book taste here for our
No,
audience.
this isn't my page.
All right, so we're going to start right here. All right, here we go. What Kenny recalls is that a few nights after they moved in, the heat had become so awful it was particularly hard for him to fall asleep. And then, when he did, a mosquito awakened him. At least Kenny thought it was a mosquito. Half awake, he fumbled for his bedside flashlight and shined it on his clock. It read 2:35 a.m. He looked about. Though the attic corners were still caught in darkness, enough moonlight seeped through the open skylight to give the room a soft yellow glow, thick and hazy. He tried to settle himself to find a cool spot in his pillow, but he kept thinking about something his father had said, that servants had lived in the small rooms off the attic. How could they have stood it in such a hot night? He heard a sound. His first notion was that it was an owl or a bat. He lay still, listening hard. It came again. He describes it as a scraping sound, the kind of noise you'd make if you put light sandpaper to wood and rubbed slowly. Sitting up now, Kenny tried to pinpoint where the sound had come from, using his bedside flashlight to probe the corners. He couldn't see a thing. Perhaps he had imagined it. Determined to sleep, he flopped down, only to hear the sound once more. This time, he was certain it came from the far end of the attic, where the small rooms were. Taking up the flashlight, Kenny slipped out of bed. A mouse didn't bother him. He wasn't too sure about a rat. That thought made him snatch up a shoe as well and hold it by the toe, hammer fashion. Kenny crept forward as quietly as possible, stopping every couple of feet. Sometimes he heard the soft scraping. Sometimes he didn't. It was, he thought, the sound of something being pushed or dragged along the floor. He reached the first of the doors, but instead of barging in, he waited. He wanted to make sure he had the right room, afraid that if he went into the wrong one, he'd scare off whatever was making the sound. After a while, when no sound came, He tucked the flashlight under his arm, reached for the doorknob, and twisted it, carefully pulling the door open. Clutching the flashlight again, he leaned forward and looked. Light from the single window fell upon a couple of cartons his parents had stored inside. That was all that he could see. He switched on the flashlight, but saw nothing else. Still Kenny waited, hoping the sound would come again. When it did, it came from the other, smaller room. Kenny turned off the light, drew breath, moved to that door, pulled it open, and cautiously looked in. A white glow, almost shiny, and brightest on the floor, filled the windowless space. And what Kenny saw, or thought he saw, were 2 hands, then 2 arms, reaching up from the stain, pushing away a box of his mother's old books that was sitting on it. These hands and arms seemed to be not flesh and blood, but sculptured, glowing smoke. It was as if, from under that box, a body was struggling to be free. Why did you choose that particular moment in the story, Isa?
Because I couldn't stop reading when I started to read that particular part, and I just wanted to know more because I got to the end of the paragraph and I wanted to read more, but I think I had to go to bed.
Oh, goodness gracious, going to bed after that, I hope you didn't have any nightmares. You said you're used to the horror genre and you like it, though, so you're pretty attuned to the idea of, this might scare me, but not enough to make me lose sleep. Very good. Well, Avi himself is a fantastic writer. If you ever get a chance to read any of his other books, particularly this one, Something Upstairs, he does a great job of bringing middle grade students, 6th through 8th grade, even older, especially adults too, even me, bringing into the story and really feeling what's going on. He does a great job of interior conflict, and he does a really, really, really good job of explaining the exterior settings and how that relates to the character himself. So, fantastic choice. If you were to give this book a scale of 1 to 5 stars, what would you give it?
Probably at least 4.5, probably 5.
Fantastic. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this week. Isa has been my co-host. It's been a pleasure being able to read a little bit of Avi with you. We hope that you can come and join us again. Come visit us at thebooktasters.com. That's THEBOOKTASTERS. Or you can go to my website, timothyjburdick.com. There you'll find our connections to all of our social media accounts, including our YouTube station, in which this video is also being played. So thank you so much, Isa, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.